and welcome to Downriver Rescue Connection. I'm your host, Patty Redikovich, and it is my privilege to bring you information on animal-related topics in the animal rescue community. On today's episode, we have a founder and a board of director from C.H.A.I.N.E.D Inc. This is Gina. She is the founder and president of C.H.A.I.N.E D, and this is Janet, who is on the board of directors. So welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're going to learn all about C.H.A.I.N.E D in just a few minutes, but I want to start by bringing out one of their adoptable dogs. This dog, her name is Grace, and she's going to be brought out by Janae, who is one of the teen volunteers for C.H.A.I.N.E D, and Janet's going to tell us a little bit about Grace.
Grace is a year-and-a-half-old Staffordshire Terrier. Great dog. When I met Grace, she was wandering an alley in River Rouge. I was on another emergency dog call and saw her, and I stopped to help her. And I've been fostering her for about 9-10 months now. When we first got her, she was a very mean, aggressive, very scared dog. We've done a lot of training with her. She's so lovable right now, and she's excited trying to get to me, but she's a year-and-a-half old. She is available for adoption. Her best home would be another house that does not have other cats or dogs.
Okay, and then she had a little bit of a medical issue too.
She did. When I found her, she was covered in mange. She was missing a lot of her hair. We've been working on her for the last year to get her healthy. She is spayed. She's current on all of her shots. We've done a lot of obedience training with her. We're still battling the mange. A lot of it is brought on, we think, by stress. I do have a lot of fosters in and out of my house. Makes it a little tough on her. But she really is a great dog, and she's looking for her forever home.
Great. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for Janae for bringing out Grace, and that's Grace. And just so people are aware, with mange, there are two different types of mange. There's sarcoptic mange, which is contagious, and there's the Demodex mange, which is not. And a lot of the mange that you find on the animals, like this one, was Demodex mange.
It was
so
Demodex,
they can have other fosters in and out of their home, and it's not going to be contagious to them. It's really a disorder of the immune system, and so once the immune system gets strengthened, then everything goes back to normal. So. So thank you very much for talking about Grace. So I wanted to have Grace come out at the beginning of the show because she's a typical dog that you guys might find with your group. So why don't we start off by telling everybody, what is C.H.A.I.N.E D?
C.H.A.I.N.E D stands for Continuing Helping Animals in Need and Educating Dog Owners. And what we do is we enhance the lives of 24/7 chained and outdoor dogs in the Downriver area in southwest Detroit. We do help dogs in the entire city of Detroit, but our primary target population is southwest Detroit. It's kind of hard to spread everybody all over the city, but if we focus on a smaller area, we can help more. We'll make a greater impact on the community of dogs. And we provide insulated dog houses. We do build kennels, fence extensions. For some dogs, we do so many projects a year. We do provide low-income and free spay-neuter for large breed dogs that live outside and chain dogs. We do food assistance, a lot of owner education. That's the big one. And we do whatever we can to help make that outside dog live more comfortably and healthy.
Great. So you guys are a relatively new group, and you kind of have hit the ground running, and you've just taken off. And it's also, this is something that I really don't know any other groups that are doing this. So what was the impetus behind starting C.H.A.I.N.E D?
I saw my first chained dog.
Okay.
That did it.
All right.
She's a home health care nurse. She was visiting a patient and saw Diamond, which is a small little white pit bull living in deplorable conditions, and she says, I need to do something. So she went and knocked on the door, and it was an elderly lady in her 80s. The owner of the dog was sent to prison, and she was stuck with this dog chained in the backyard, being elderly. She didn't know what to do. Gina said, what can I do to help you? The lady said, oh, Diamond is mean. She's aggressive. She jumps the fence. Gina went home, did some research, and found out, you know what, we can do a fence extension. We can build up the fence, stop the dog from jumping the fence, and there it was chained.
Great, great.
And she's a love bug now.
She is.
Great.
She's the best girl ever. She is.
All right. So now you were telling me when we were talking earlier today, you were telling me that you're on 400 something for your igloo dog houses?
We just used doghouse igloo number 400. I had a
Okay.
volunteer call me last night and said, I need a number for this doghouse. I said, ooh, let me check the chart. I said, ooh, 400. I said, wow, 400 igloos? So I thought it was pretty amazing. So our next number is 401, and we do only use the igloo dog houses. They stack easy in the truck. They're insulated. They seem to last longer. Like the wood ones seem to, they fall apart easier, and they're heavy. You can only fit 2 or 3 in the back of a pickup, where you could fit, I don't know, a dozen or so of the igloos.
Stacked on top. Yeah.
So, and I wanted to bring that up with the number because you started in 2011?
Yes.
So you've only been around for 2 years, and to date you've helped at least 400 dogs, because I'm sure that there's some that maybe didn't need the igloo dog houses.
Almost
because they already
600.
had, so almost 600 dogs, and so that's quite a lot for a group that just started. So how do you handle this load?
We have amazing volunteers.
Yes.
We do. In the beginning, it was just little old me, and I had about a dozen dogs. But each one, one by one, I would get them the nice house. I'd start with education, a better house, get the toe chain off their neck. I always had them wrapped around their neck. Get them on something lighter. Get them spayed or neutered, and then figure out why they were chained. Is there a missing piece of the fence? Are they jumpers? Are they diggers? And then practice makes perfect. In the beginning, we used to dig trenches around the bottom and put chicken wire and cement. And then we found out the dogs can, tear the chicken wire up. It's like, oh, we need something stronger. And then we need something easier. So we just started perfecting it. And we've got it down pat now. We could do a fence in a day.
Great.
Unless there's a lot of posts you've got to cement, then we need 2 days. But we can knock out a fence in a day.
Great. Now, so you guys are a nonprofit, so you do run off of you run from volunteers and you run off of donations. Is that correct?
Donations and fundraisers, yes. And we're
Great.
strictly all volunteers.
Great. So now some of the animals, obviously, you do end up rescuing them. The owners would surrender them to you, or you find some other ones, and then so you have an adoption program as well.
We do. We do not take in strays or owner surrenders,
Okay.
per se. We do accept some dogs off the chain. They are all of our dogs in our program are owner surrenders or puppies from a chain dog.
Okay.
And so all of our dogs, legally, they become ours through a signed owner surrender. The owner signs it. What we do is we're kind of picky with it. We're not a rescue, and that's not what we do. We want
Right.
to stick with our mission, but some of them you just can't say no. And we do a lot of networking. We have a lot of rescues that we've made beautiful friendships with, and they take a lot of our dogs too, and we'll try to vet them. We'll try to send them vetted if we can. But you'll get a dog where it's just horrible. It's horrible. Deplorable conditions, and it's just not getting better. It's getting worse. Never any improvement. Worse, and we just can't take it anymore. So we actually seek out the owner surrender.
Okay. So now we have a dog that's a little bit timid, that's hiding underneath you. This is Spirit. Now, can you tell us Spirit's story and how Spirit ended up with your group?
Spirit, we had a team of volunteers on West Side Detroit last winter, and they were stuffing dog houses, delivering igloos, food, and they looked across the street, and when our volunteer Wendy said, I seen something white and fluffy, because I had to go look. She goes, here was this big white matted fluff ball living in this huge dog house, because a big dog house is not good. They can't retain body heat. She said the house was so big it could have fit a small pony. She goes, and I knocked on the door, and somebody answered, and she said, I want to bring some straw for your dog, and they said, go ahead. They didn't even come out. They said, yeah, go ahead. So she went back there, and she stuffed his house, and he was afraid of her, and he was all in the corner. And then when they went back again later on, she goes, I have to stuff this dog in, and she knocked on the door. And this time she was able to get them to fill out paperwork to join our program, so we could visit him on our route. Then we had a volunteer that took over that side. So then he got to see Spirit, and he called and said, oh, Gina, please, please, you have to work the magic. You got to get him out of there. So we teamed up, Janet and I.
We did. Within 10 minutes, we pulled up. I saw the condition that Spirit was in, and Spirit was almost fetal position up against her doghouse that we had brought her. The minute she saw me, and her chain went from me to him, I'm sorry, used to hers. The minute I saw him and he saw me, his chain was only about from me to you. He instantly jumped right inside of his doghouse. Gina started working her magic with the owner. I started becoming friends with Spirit. And honestly, under 10 minutes, we were in, we were out, we had Spirit in the vehicle, took the doghouse, and we were gone. Because that was a situation that was just so horrible and so nasty. No one should ever live like that, you know, animal or human. It was deplorable conditions, not the proper shelter. The owners were horrible. And as you can see, he's still very shy, very timid. And some of the dogs that we do get are very shy, very timid, or they're aggressive. And that's where we work with the animals. We both have CGC certified dogs, so we've done the training with our dogs, so we know what to do with these dogs. And we've done a lot of training. Like Grace, when I first got her, she was very mean and aggressive. Spirit was the total opposite, totally withdrawn, very shy. We socialize them. We do everything we can do, and they're both ready to be adopted. They're good to go now.
Now, for people that don't know what CGC is, CGC is Canine Good Citizen.
Yes.
And that's just a credential.
Obedience training.
Right, and it's credential you can get for your dog where basically they have to pass a certain number of tests to be good with other dogs, to be good with
Yes.
people, to listen, to be obedient, and then they can get this credential, the Canine Good
Yes.
Citizen.
Yes.
So,
Spirit is shy. It did take us a few weeks to even get him in the house. My husband, while we were working the magic, he was at home throwing up a kennel in our backyard because we knew we couldn't take him immediately, and he immediately inside he was afraid. And we had him all set up. You know, we worked on attention every day, and then he little by little he started going by the glass sliding door because the other dogs would come out, and he was checking it out. And one day I just grabbed his leash and said, "Come on, you're going in."
And he's been inside ever since.
And he didn't know how to walk on wood floors. He couldn't do stairs, so my husband would carry him upstairs in our room. He'd sleep in the dog bed, and yeah. And now he can go up and down the stairs. And
now who do you think would be a perfect owner for Spirit?
somebody who's home a lot, somebody that does not have little kids. I think little kids would frighten Spirit. Either older children or none at all, grown, you know, somebody. Maybe an elderly couple, a retired couple, even a retired individual, somebody who has time for Spirit. Somebody's still active. He does love to go on walks, but he's not going to go on a long, long walk. So he's not going to be your jogging partner. But he loves walks. He loves attention. He likes a quiet home.
Okay.
Squeaky toy goes off and he's out of there.
All right.
So he's...
Okay. So now, can you maybe to have people get a better understanding of what C.H.A.I.N.E does, and for anybody that might be interested in volunteering with you guys to understand what they might be asked to do, can you kind of go through a scenario like, let's say you get, and I'm not even sure how it works, you get a report of a chained dog, maybe somebody calls or emails, and then what happens from there?
We get a call either on the voicemail, Facebook, email. We get about 100 to 200 calls a week between the three. And it's either somebody that's seen the dog or an owner requesting help. So either if it's not the owner, we call it a blind knock. If it's the owner, then we say owner called. And we basically go to the address and bang on the door and introduce C.H.A.I.N.E, and we make sure we tell them we're a nonprofit. Everything we're trying to do is free. We give them a flyer, provide education, and we build trust, and we get them to go in the backyard, let us in their backyard on their property, meet their dog, and then we assess the situation. What does a dog need? Does it need a new house? Is there a chain around his neck? Is the chain too heavy? Is it too short? Is the dog too thin? You know, you have to see it. You have to see it to assess it. And you can't believe what everybody, says. I've seen a skinny dog, and I've seen this. You have to see it, because sometimes people see things and it's not really what's going on.
What they think is bad by the law is not bad.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Some breeds are genetically thin, and someone will call and say, "Oh my gosh, this dog is so skinny, you guys need to go out there. I don't see a food bowl, I don't see a water bowl. I live 2 doors down, I was looking over the fence." We go out there is a food bowl, there is a water bowl. The dog is genetically skinny. The owner will show us, "Look, I have a 40-pound bag of food." And then on the other hand, we get these calls and they say, "Well, I ran out of food 3 days ago when I've just been giving my dog table scraps." We always go with some sort of peace offering. We knock on the door, we have food, we have treats, we have toys. We come prepared. We have a lighter cable tie out to get them off the chain. We have treats for the dog. we find something in common with the owner so we can get to the dog. Our main goal is getting to the dog, to assess the dog, see exactly what the dog needs. There has been some situations that has been above and beyond what we could do, and we have called in other services to help us with that. But normally, Chained gets the job done. Needless to say, we do.
And sometimes better.
That's true.
I do want to say that you guys provide a wonderful service that, like I said, there's no other group that I know of that does this. And, you know, since you guys have come into being, a lot of people, respect what you guys are doing. And so I wanted to give you guys kudos, say,
Thank you.
thanks for doing what you do.
We're it for Detroit. That's for sure.
So let me, now you do a lot of owner education, so I'm just going to ask you guys a couple of questions. You can answer the way you would answer an owner. So if somebody's watching the show and they're thinking, well, my dog is chained and it's on a heavy chain and that's what it needs because it might run away or it looks cool, what do you say to them?
I ask them, just take the chain off the dog and just put it over your shoulders and just stand there and walk here and back here. Just walk in that circle. Now just imagine staying there 24/7 and you can't move and you got to keep that on your shoulders. And then people, they'll just look at me. They don't know what to say. Okay, then just wrap it around your neck once. Stand there. They don't know what to say. And it's like they don't need that heavy of a chain. They don't need it. I mean, the dog's 50 pounds. It doesn't need a chain that weighs more than they do.
Okay.
And it's a prison sentence is what it is.
I personally will ask the owner, will you trade places with your dog for 3 days? They look at me, well, no. Well, why do you think that's okay for your dog? And you can honestly see them look back at you and be like,
She does.
I never thought of that. Yeah, I'm kind of the more meaner one. But I will come right out and ask the owner, will you trade places with your dog for 3 days? And you eat, sleep, defecate, everything in a 3-foot circle, and you're going to sleep out there, no straw, no nothing, on the cement. That's where you're going to live for 3 days. Well, no, I don't want to do that. And I said, well, why do you think your dog should? Well, I want my dog to be a guard dog. Okay, what is it guarding? The chain that you have him tethered to? Because while he's chained right there, I can break into the back of your house. I can go in through your side door. I can go in through the front of the house. Your dog's going to bark at me, but your dog's chained, so it barks all the time, so nobody looks. Meanwhile, I just took your kid's Nintendo, I took your Xbox, I just took your cell phone, and you honestly see the look on their face like, I didn't realize that. So a lot of times, it's just getting the owner to realize that what they think is okay, there's a better solution. If you want a good guard dog, that dog needs to be in the home with you, to know you, to want to protect you. If that dog is abused and neglected, chained outside, they're not going to protect you if something goes on because they can't get to you to protect you. And a lot of times that really does work with the owner when you tell them, trade places.
Right.
Trade places.
And that's really great because what you're actually telling the owner is, what are you trying to accomplish? And let me
Exactly.
tell you why what you're doing won't accomplish your
Right.
goal. So let's show you a better way to get to your
Right.
goal.
I always try the kindest way first, when the owner education, your dog needs to be fed at least twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, depending on the breed and the size of the dog. Your dog needs to have straw in its doghouse. It's the difference between, you sleeping on your floor or you sleep on your couch. That's kind of the difference with the straw. And then if they're not kind of getting that concept and they're still kind of giving me a hard time, I ask them, trade places with your dog. I'm going to bring your dog in the house for 3 days and I'll come and visit you maybe once a day. I might be back in 3 days. And then they kind of realize, maybe what I'm doing is not right. So.
Okay, great. So now you guys have already mentioned that the igloos is what you find is to the best dog houses. But again, going back to the owner education, there are owners obviously that don't have any shelter, but then there are owners that have giant shelters and they think this is fabulous because I set this up for my dog and it's a palace. So explain that to the viewers.
Sometimes I'll ask them, can I shove an igloo inside of it? Please?
We have. We've done that too. One of the best ways that I've noticed to explain it to someone, if you walk into a wedding reception and you're one of the first people there, that room is very cold. But once all 300 guests get there, you dance a little bit, you're really warm. It's kind of the same concept to that dog. If he's the only dog in his little doggy mansion, there's nothing else in there to put body heat in there to warm that space. So you want something small so the body heat that radiates from that dog heats that small area. I mean, it's nice they want to give them a doggy palace, but on the other hand, they don't realize that smaller is better, so their body heats that space. And we do provide heated pads that go in some of our igloos for some of the dogs too.
Okay.
We provide that too.
Great. Now, can you talk about the difference then between why would you choose straw over blankets? Because that's another thing that some owners think they're doing a good job by putting in blankets and towels.
Gina.
Okay. Blankets retain moisture. When it's cold out, they'll freeze. Rains, they get wet. They're okay for the summer as long as it's not raining. It's not bad for the summer because actually the doghouse floors get burning hot in the summer. Like you touch them, it's like, whew, they're really hot. The straw it keeps the dog dry, doesn't retain the moisture, and sometimes you'll get a little. It'll get wet too, but mostly like around the entranceway, and you can always pull. Like we'll pull it out, and we'll use the old straw for ground cover, and then we'll put fresh straw. But the straw holds up better. And we don't use cedar chips because some dogs it can make them cough and sneeze and cause respiratory problems. Straw's the way to go, and you pack it. And we build walls inside the houses. We'll use a half a bale to a whole bale of straw sometimes on the igloos. Depends on the size of the igloo, but we pack it in tight.
Okay. So we are getting to the end of the show, so I want to make sure that one of the things you guys I know need are more volunteers. So we've already talked a little bit about what you do, so volunteers have some idea of what they might be doing. They might be going out on calls. They might be able, if they're technologically savvy, they might be able to help you with some other things. But can you talk about some of the volunteer needs that you have?
We do need some more field volunteers. We also need volunteers that are fundraiser savvy. Can help. They can actually, start a fundraiser, organize it from start to finish, or assist with one. We do need to. We do need volunteers for fundraisers. Could use some volunteers, even errands. Sometimes transporting animals
To vets.
to vets, to other rescues. Like I said, we do work with a lot of good rescues. So sometimes they'll have to go to the vet and then right from the vet to the rescue. So it just depends. Basically, it's whatever the volunteer wants to do or is good at. We can find something.
Yes.
And it sounds like with the 100 to 200 calls and emails that you get a week, you may even need people to help kind of go through those and log those in and get those out.
We do. Someone that can help us answer our emails, answer our voice calls, that can deliver straw to the dogs. With 600 dogs being in our program, we need someone that can go out just about every weekend, load up their pickup truck, their SUV. I actually drive a Mustang. You'd be amazed how much I can fit in that to go and deliver straw each weekend to these dogs. Without that straw, they're not going to survive the winter. Winter's brutal here in Michigan, and that straw is very, very important. So even if they could just deliver straw to dogs in need, that straw, food, treats, and toys each weekend, that'd be phenomenal.
Great. And now, and you guys have your website that we'll bring up on the screen. You have a very active Facebook page.
Yes, we do.
And I know Wendy is one of your Facebook page administrators. She does a good job there.
Yeah.
And then there's also, you can get in touch with you by email or phone as well.
And everything's listed on the website.
Yes.
Okay, great. Is there any final thing, any message that you'd like to get across?
All of our dogs are on Pet Finder, so if you are looking for any dog, by all means, go to petfinder.com. Spirit and Grace are two great, great dogs that need their forever home. With them being in our home, it makes us hard to rescue the next one, so we really need to get them placed.
Great. All right, well, thank you so much, Gina
Thank you.
and Janet,
Thank
for
you.
being
Thank
on
you
the
for
show.
having us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So I wanted to just reiterate that we all look forward to a day when all pets are treated like family and everyone has a home. But until that time, we invite you to be part of the solution. And remember, please spay and neuter your pets. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.